My name is Alin, and I'm currently a heart transplant recipient. My heart transplant story is a little bit complicated and it's not as common as most people. So I actually had to get a heart transplant after being diagnosed with acute heart failure, secondary to familial dilated cardiomyopathy. I was in medical training at that time. I was an ER resident, and I hadn't been feeling good for a couple of weeks. And so one day I went to the emergency department and I was short of breath, and they did a bunch of tests and I got admitted to see exactly what was going on. And before I even realized what was going on, I had to get resuscitated. Um, I had to come to terms with the fact that I had this acute heart failure diagnosis very quickly. So by the time I woke up from everything that had just happened to me, I had been in the ICU on the ventilator. That's when they told me that I was in acute heart failure. So from the beginning until now, I feel like it's been a roller coaster as far as emotions go. I think that initially it was all just a shock. So I just had to kind of get through that initial shock, accept the fact that I'm now a transplant patient. Um, Over the next couple months, I think I was more sad because I had to grieve my old life, the things that I probably wasn't going to be able to do again, or at least not to the extent that I was doing before. And so that was a little difficult. Of course, there were times that I was angry and more upset than others. And I think another part of that, which a lot of people don't realize, is that you are on different medications that mess around your mood. So initially, most transplant patients are on really high dose steroids, which kind of make you feel manic at times, and you're not sleeping as much, and then you're more tired during the day. And so, having those ups and downs the first few months was very difficult. But over time, things get better. And I think over time, the feeling of gratitude kind of emphasizes the reason why you have the transplant. You become very, very grateful for the second chance at life. With that being said, I tell people that it's not necessarily mutually exclusive. You can be grateful, but also sad about some things, and that's totally okay. I always tell people, even my own patients and their families, that a lot of these things, especially when something is as sudden as it was for me, um, is harder on the families than it is for the patient. The families are the ones that are seeing the patient go through everything. They're seeing their loved one, incredibly sick. A lot of the times, the patients aren't going to remember a lot of what happened to them. I don't remember a lot of what happened to me, but my parents, till this day, will talk about all the emotions that they went through, the number of times that they cried, how difficult it was for them to see everything that I was going through at such a young, especially at such a young age. Getting the gift of life from a deceased donor. I think in the beginning, I was feeling really guilty. Like I almost felt like someone had to die and then I got to live, and I had to like grapple with those feelings often. But with that being said, I became very close with my donor's family. Her name was Lucy, and her whole family, Laura is her mom. We're all very close, and I think one of the things that made me feel better was the fact that her mom and her whole family says this. They just feel like Lucy still lives on, uh, through this gift that she was able to give not only me but three other people. The main thing, this sounds really cliche, but the main thing that keeps me going is knowing that I'm doing a lot of this for Lucy. I still think that transplant, it's not my full life. Like I have things outside of the transplant world that I'm proud of, but a big part of me is Lucy, and the reason why I'm here is Lucy. So constantly remembering that a lot of what I'm doing is for her and her family helps me stay positive.